Name's Akhtar Kasia. I run a support group. I'm a vice chair for the support group called Downs and Special Friends. I have a son with Down syndrome who's 19. He's called Ayub. And I'm here because of my connection with Downs and Special Friends, and that's why you have invited me.
Is your son there with you? And is he okay to answer some questions, or are you going to answer on behalf of him?
He's not here. He's day center. Monday to Friday, he goes to day centers. Um, so I'll have to answer on his behalf if it's okay with
That's
you.
fine. That's fine. So, like you said, you go to the day center. What type of facilities have they put in for him at the day center because of his condition?
So it wasn't straightforward. He once he left the school, he was offered an opportunity to go to Dewsbury College. We did raise concern as parents that it was not appropriate for him to go to Dewsbury College because appropriate resources were not there in place for children with special needs, such as Ayub and other children as well. But the education providers did reassure us that no, everything will be there. So once it started there, we started having a lot of issues at the college. Nearly every other day, we were getting phone calls from the college to come pick Ayub up because he was misbehaving. They couldn't handle his behavior. They couldn't handle his. They couldn't understand him basically, and that's where it all boiled down to. He was at lunchtime with the normal children, and that caused unsupervised as well, and that caused a lot of issues. Um, and it's only when we eventually found out that that the children were giving him smokes, vapes, and other stuff that we decided to just withdraw him from the college. It just got ridiculous that they could not handle. They could not provide the support that was required by you. I mean, he was perfectly fine at school. The support mechanisms were there, but as soon as he went into higher education in college, um, they said they did, but to be honest, they didn't. And we had a lot of issues. So we withdrew him. And then from there, we decided to send him to day centers. So we had to do a lot of research. Mom did a lot of research in making sure there were right day centers available for him. And for us as a Muslim, it was very important that um, halal environment was there. So, for example, the food, the drink, and anything else that goes behind it. So it wasn't straightforward at all. We had to go and visit quite a few day centers to see which were appropriate and what kind of activities they did. And then eventually we settled with a 2 day center. So he goes to a place called Bespoke in Liversedge for 3 days. And then for 2 days, he goes to Waves in Huddersfield. He's got nice balance now, and he's much more settled. He's much more calmer. He's happier. And I think as a parent, that's very very important. So Alhamdulillah, we in the end we found the right balance for him in terms of his getting the development, the growth, and what as an individual requires from day to day. Because obviously, children like Ayub, they can't sit at the back of a desk um, and then just continuously read a book or follow an instruction from a teacher that's just writing on the board. They are more hands on. I mean, Ayub is a visual learner, so he likes to sort of observe other people either through a TV or just watching people outside. He copies them, and that's how he himself develops himself basically and grows in his needs.
Can you explain what Down syndrome is and how it affects the person's daily living? And what age can a person live until with Down syndrome? Because I know someone who lived until he was 50 with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So, can you explain that for us? How long he can live with Down syndrome, a perfectly normal
Down
life?
syndrome, it's basically a genetic condition, and it's caused by an extra chromosome, an extra copy of chromosome at number 21 DNA. So basically, the way the egg and the sperms or the baby is born is usually have 23 uh, well, you have a shared DNA from mom and dad, and by you having an extra chromosome, it basically creates a baby that is known as Down syndrome. um, and I mean, it's a genetic condition. It's not a disease, so you're not going to catch any disease or anything like by touching children with Down syndrome or babies with Down syndrome. You're not going to catch any disease or anything. It's basically a genetic condition. You are born with it, and it stays with you until the day you die. Okay, so that's what Down syndrome is about. With regards to the life expectancies these days, because of all the support and medical advancements and everything that is available, including the support group like us, Downs and Special Friends, you got Down Syndrome Association, and there's loads of other smaller organizations that promotes uh, Down syndrome in a positive light. uh, the expectancies have, and the support that is available for the children have increased quite a bit. It's still a long way to go. We're not there yet. Uh, but what that means is that because of the support that is available either within the community, within the social care, within the individual's houses, children and the people with Down syndrome are able to live longer now. It's quite normal now for children to live, or the people to live past 50, 60, and there are much more older people with Down syndromes as well these days. It all boils down on what the support mechanism is available for them. And every single Down syndrome person or the child or an adult is different in the abilities, the strengths. So it all differs, and all those will basically have an impact on how long that person lives.
So you're the chairman of this South Syndrome. Can you tell us more about the how did you come into it and how you got the role? And it's quite hard to take over this place as well.
I'm the vice chair for a group called Downs and Special Friends. So we don't just support members with Down syndrome. We support members with autism, blindness, cystic fibrosis, and there's loads of other disabilities, diagnosed or undiagnosed, such as ADHD and so forth. So basically, the reason we came about in setting up, so we were the founding members of this particular group, and the reason we came about doing that is very early age of Ayub, we found that um, we did not see that many children with Down syndrome, or the families with children with Down syndrome in our local community. And being a very positive parent, so my wife's very positive, I'm very positive. We wanted to make sure that we took Ayub to every single wedding, funerals. We took him shopping, wherever. We did not hide him, but we did find that as we took him out, people were approaching us and were being very, very positive in terms of um, speaking to us and saying how good they felt that they saw Ayub, for example. They saw Ayub with us, and they're like, "Oh, my sister's got a child with Down syndrome. Oh, my brother's got a child with Down syndrome." And slowly, slowly, they felt confident because there was a lot of stigma within our community. So, if you got any special needs child or a person, you would have noticed that our community actually does have a lot of stigma attached to it. I mean, classic example I give to most people is that we have two Eid celebrations in our mosque or in a year. And so when we go to mosque, how many special needs child do you see? We won't see any, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But for example, on Jummah or on Eid day, if you go a disabled old person wheelchair, you'll have 10 people who'll walk up there. They'll be helping this person to bring him in, etc. But if a child goes into the mosque, a specialist child, hardly not see them. So we wanted to remove this stigma, and Alhamdulillah, by setting a small group, it's a very localized group. We are based Batley, Dewsbury. So we are based in North Kirklees, and we cover Batley, Dewsbury, Os, Cleckheaton, Ravensthorpe area, and we currently have over 250 plus members, and they all range from not just Asians and Indians and Pakistanis, but we have everyone from. So we have Syrian, we have Moroccan, we have obviously the non-Muslims, the whites, everyone, and everyone is a member. The committee members are all volunteers, and they're all of them are parents, parents with a child with special needs. So it's a support group run by the parents, and we do quite well. We run mainly activities for our children. We do a lot of parties for our children. They love parties, and our parties are very well renowned in our local area. Usually, we have anything from 180 to 200 people any given time for the parties. And we mainly run activities where it's not just for the children with disabilities, but it's for the whole family to take part. So it's up to the parents whether they want to take part, whether their siblings want to take part or not. But we run an activity which is all inclusive for the whole
Can you
family.
tell us if there are any symptoms of Down syndrome, and uh, are the people living with Down syndrome, are they at a disadvantage to their typical peers?
Yeah, it's a great questions, a great question, and I mean, I would break the symptoms or the Down syndrome conditions down in three categories. So the first one would be physical features. So the physical features is the most obvious one that you would notice. The first one is the slanted eyes appear, so they look more like a North Asian, i.e., the Chinese, Japanese kind of eyes. That's how people usually relate to. They are usually very short in height as well, so the heights are quite short. They have a short neck as well. They'll usually have like a flat profile, as a flat face as well. So when you see the person, you'll see the flat face. Some of the Down syndrome children, they will have a protruding tongue as well, so they'll be sticking the tongue out like that quite a bit, and that's quite normal as well. And one of the things that we were told and were advised before even any tests were done is they usually have on a palm, they usually have just one single crease up here. So when the baby is born, if the nurses or doctors suspect that the child has Down syndrome from the facial features, then they usually see the palm, and that's what they did with my son as well. So even before he was tested, they basically confirmed that it looks like he's got Down syndrome. So that's physical features. In terms of the development side, developmental delays, that's the second category. They all include in terms of intellectual capabilities. So, for example, the capabilities that you and I have in terms of thinking on sports and other stuff, they'll have a slow version of it, if that makes sense. So even though they understand everything, the intellectuality is not there. So people do they are very what's the word I'm looking for? They are susceptible in terms of they are very um, let me come back to it. So basically you have to be careful with them. They usually have delayed speech and language development as well. So my son, even though he's there, his speech is not clear. He's 19, but his speech is not clear. Some people might not understand him. The word I was looking for is vulnerable. So intellectual disability links to vulnerability as well. And they have a very slow stroke reduced motor skills as well. So for example, you and I can pinch things, um, but you will find, as an example, um, the way they hold the spoon or the way they pinch, it'll be very difficult because in the body, the muscles are not developed as you and I have. They don't, everything is what they call a low muscle tone. So they hardly have any muscles in the body, and that's why they get tired. They can't walk for long. That's why they look a bit round and podgy. When you touch them, they're all soft. Wherever you touch them, it's all soft, or you can just feel the bones. And these are standard characteristics on there. The third category is I would say, health concerns. And the health for typically child with Down syndrome, they usually have a high risk of congenital heart disease. So some children with Down syndrome, they are born with what they call hole in a heart. So they do have high bypass operation to get it repaired. They obviously have a hearing and vision problems as well. Most of them, so you'll see them wearing glasses. They wear hearing aid as well. My son did wear a hearing aid, but he's grown out of it now. Um, they have a susceptibility to increased respiratory infection. So any weather where the weather changes instantly, cold weather, hot weather, they do get infection very quickly. So we have to be careful with that. And some of the children do have a thyroid dysfunction as well. Um, these are just the three categories that I would specify in terms of the symptoms of I wouldn't say symptoms of Down syndrome, but more of a characteristics of Down syndrome, because its symptom is only if it's a disease. Down syndrome is not a disease.
So what best advice would you give to someone that has got Down syndrome or visual impairment, or like if they've got a learning disability, schizophrenia? Because myself, I've got vision impairment, registered blind. Abdulman, he's got a learning disability, schizophrenia. So what best advice would you give to someone with any type of disability?
I think it all boils down from how quickly a parent has accepted that their child has got disability. And once the acceptance is done, there's a great reward in terms of looking at that child or looking at that person with everything they will do in future in a positive manner. So we accepted this very, very early age. I mean, we're talking so just 3 or 4 months when we got told about Down syndrome. I mean, he was 2 weeks old when we were told he was Down syndrome, and we accepted it straight away. The concern as a parent was that what kind of future is he going to have? So we're talking sort of 15, 20 years down the road. Um, but once we accepted that Ayub as it is, we tackled every single obstacle. I mean, especially my wife did a lot of hard work with him in terms of going to seeing the specialist, seeing the doctors, the GPs, the nurses, the support mechanism that was available, whether it was through Bradford Down syndrome group or through Leeds Down syndrome group, where the speech therapy was available for him. So all those early age tasks, my wife tackled it in a very comprehensive way, and she went out, looked for the resources, and accepted it. Luckily now, because of our group, we're able to share those knowledge and information with other parents who would be in a similar situation as us. But the earlier they accept, the better it is for the child and for the parents and the siblings and rest of the family as well, because then that helps the child in terms of the developmental growth, the resources that's required. And it's crucial that if the support mechanism is there, obviously they will have every single child with Down syndrome. It differs in numerous way. Not all Down syndrome child are same. Okay, their appearance might be same, but they all differ in a way quite different ways. So I would say, as a parent, you have to accept it, then put the support mechanism in place. If you're not aware of any support mechanism, go out there, look for the support groups, go meet other parents, meet support groups, ring us up. I mean, I'm more than happy to help and support whoever requires anything. And as long as you do that, and as long as you put the child out in the community as well, so take him out shopping, let people stare at them, doesn't matter. don't get nervous. I mean, when people stare at my Ayub, I actually take Ayub to them and say, look, do you want to say hello to him? So I go in a reverse mode, basically. And I'm not ashamed of that. Why should I be ashamed of my child? I'm not. I'm very proud of him. He lives a full life. He lives a very full life with love, resources available for him. If he wants to go town center, he can go town center. He's got his own personal assistants that comes support him 3 times a week as well. So they go to restaurants, they go walking, gym, hairdressers, you name it. They have a good time. So as long as a parent you accept it, and you able to be you able to see your child in a positive manner, in a positive view, that reflects on your child itself. They automatically pick up on the positive vibes from the parents or the supporting mechanism that's available to the child, and naturally that will help the child in the development, growth, and everything else that is required.
Can Down syndrome affect a person's mental health? How is it susceptible to affecting their mental health? And just wanted
Yes, I
to
mean,
know how
obviously, because of
proactive
the
they are,
sorry, go
sorry,
on.
how proactive they are in the
Yeah,
community.
the development growth is part of the Down syndrome symptom when earlier. So the mental state, the development of the intellectuality has an impact on the mental state as well, because they're not able to differentiate the risk factor or non-risk factor. So, for example, my Ayub, till a few years ago, he would not understand what the element was. So he would cross the road without even looking in the eye. He would jump off a wall, not understanding the risk factor in terms of breaking leg or anything like that. He would not understand the danger element. So he would just run on a road. So we always had two carers with him, etc., etc. So the mental capacity usually comes in terms of the development. So the more positive you are, and the more you aware you are of what your child's capabilities are, you're able to put the support mechanism around that. So once we realized that our child was quite high risk in terms danger, putting himself on danger, but for the carers as well, we put care in place. So instead of having one carer with him all the time, we had two carers with him all the time, which made sure that he wasn't able to just run around and do anything he wanted. We wanted him to be in the community, but at the same time, we didn't want other people getting hurt as well. So there are ways of tackling things. The mental health is always going to be there, because when they look at other children and other people, what they're able to do in terms of, say, playing footballs or watching cricket or other stuff, uh, they they obviously want to copy, but they understand what the limitations are, and that can put a child in a very uncompromisingly very depression kind of situation. So it's it's all again, it boils down on the parents, because a child is not able to make a decision in terms of right or wrong. A parental support in the right way, in a positive way, would help the child develop and be positive in the community. And that's what we've done with Ayub. So even though with all his language issues, with his health issues, he's still in the community. People do welcome him. He's able to communicate. He's very confident. He's very joyous person. He's a very happy child. He likes having a laugh. He's a great kid. I mean, you come to Bali, and I would say every single person in Bali knows who I am. अख्तर है, अख्तर कासिया. मैं डाउन्स एंड स्पेशल फ्रेंड्स का वाइस चेयरमैन हूँ. हम लोकल ग्रुप, यानी कि नॉर्थ कर्कलीज में बार्ली, ड्यूसबरी, रेवनस्टॉप, ऑसेट जगह पे हम ये सपोर्ट ग्रुप रन करते हैं. तकरीबन हमारे पास अभी 200 से 250 मेंबर्स हैं, जिसके बच्चे डाउन सिंड्रोम, जिसके बच्चे को डाउन सिंड्रोम होता है, ऑटिज्म होता है, एडीएचडी है, ब्लाइंडनेस है, वो सब डिसेबिलिटीज़ को हम सपोर्ट करते हैं. सपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म में हम एक्टिविटीज़ वगैरह रन करते हैं काफ़ी, और वो एक्टिविटीज़ पूरे फैमिली के लिए रन करते हैं. बच्चों लोग के लिए नहीं करते, लेकिन पूरे फैमिली के लिए. सो बच्चे के भाई बहन अगर हो, फिर माँ अम्मा अब्बा हो, दादा दादी हो, अंकल आंटी हो, उन सब के सबको इन्वॉल्व करते हैं हम ये एक्टिविटी में, एक पॉजिटिव रिस्पॉन्स, एक पॉजिटिव सपोर्ट के लिए हम बच्चों के लिए
And
करते
going
हैं.
forward with your organization, what have you got planned in the future in the next 5 to 10 years?
So the next steps, a big group for us is to have a cafe, either in Bali or Dewsbury area. That's going to be run the adult children with special needs. They have an interaction with the within the community. They're able to deal with the routine. They're able to deal with the cash. They're able to deal with the time management. Obviously, there will be a support person available within the cafe as well, but that's the next step for us, for older children to um, uh, work too, because at the moment, in terms of the employment wise and other stuff, there's not much things available for our children. They don't have, I mean, the reading and writing and then lifting and all this stuff, they can't do any of this stuff, so we have to be very careful. So the idea behind the cafe is to bring the community together, so bring the community to the cafe, interact with our children as well, and hopefully create that good vibe kind of environment for everyone. So that's the next step. Just locally, we've got 250 members, so you can imagine, there are loads of other children and other groups available. I mean, I'm sure there must be a group in Manchester as well. I mean, I know there's a group in Bradford, there's a group in Leeds, there's a group in London. So I think each town will have it, but we are very unique in a sense that we are not just group for children with Down syndrome. We support children with autism, blindness, ADHD. So we are the only group in the whole country that provides support for children with so many disabilities, so many different types of disabilities. Um, Down syndrome, I'm sure there'll be someone in Manchester uh, offering that support group.
One last question. Can you describe the experience of parenting a person with Down syndrome and what are the challenges that come with it? Some of the
Where do I start?
challenges. Just some
It's
of them, you don't have to name all of them.
no, to be honest, it's very simple. It's a very, 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 very rewarding. For me, it's just I won't go into too much detail other than I'll just say it's a very rewarding, and I'm blessed that Allah Ta'ala has given me and my wife and my family the opportunity to take care of Ayub. And Ayub brings us a lot of joy, lot of happiness, lot of contentment in terms of everything that we do in our life now. So, before he was born, about money, money, money. Once he came into our life, the whole family priority changed. And alhamdulillah, but like I keep on saying, accept it. The sooner you accept it, the more happier as you are going to be. There's going to be lots of challenges. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be lots of hurdles to cross, from schools to EHCPs, the council fighting, everything. But end of the day, every step that your child takes is so rewarding for you to see and view, and uh, the pleasure you get from that is just enormous. So we've got a Facebook, obviously. If you just search Downs and Special Friends on Facebook, we are there. We've got a website as well, downsandspecialfriends.org. We've got a website. We've got a telephone number which is 01924 922 You can ring us, and we'll take care of it. Everything is confidential. All the conversations are confidential, the emails, anything else, we're more than happy. So there's quite a few ways of contacting us.